I won't lie, I have been putting this off for a bit, so why don't we go and react to that Touhou video. What is Touhou? An infomercial? What is Touhou? An informational video. The only exposure I have to Touhou was through some memes and thanks to a viewer of mine on YouTube, and I only played Touhou Luna Nights, and that's as far as my exposure to Touhou goes. Anything else beyond that, it's I'm just drawing blanks here. So I'm going in naked and afraid, and well, let's see what Touhou is all about then, shall we? Okay. Lots of music. I can respect that. Man, look at all that bullet hell goodness.
Ah yes, the Touhou Project. An infamous Dan-maku, or bullet hell shooter, known for its damn near impossible
or
levels,
curtain fire,
catchy music, and endless fan-made stuff. Yeah,
very fan-made stuff.
It's also been given different titles, such
as weirdly enough, I don't think this is
the
even the worst.
Like they call them these days. Oh yes, and the character portraits from these are terrible. Don't look at them for too long, or they'll stare into your soul and destroy you. But let's stop there for a second. If you're watching this
again,
video,
not the
then you must
worst.
know something about Touhou. If you're watching this and you do know something about Touhou, good. Now you know something. For those of you who don't, this is what this video is for. You will now know by the end of this fine-ass video.
Oh god!
Exactly is
Why yes,
Touhou.
a video
Touhou
made for me!
Dungeon vertical scrolling bullet hell shooter games. Developed by Team Shanghai Alice. I say team, it's really one person. It's all Zune. He
This
makes
guy.
the games,
Hey,
he programs
nice.
it all, he does the art, he does the music. It's amazing. He's like a superhero. Or a god. At the time of
Not
this video
bad.
being published, there are 21
All this is from
Touhou
one guy.
games. 21. That is a lot. The first 5 of which were released exclusively in Japan for the PC 98 series, which is a Japanese console before Windows XP took over the world, it being awesome and amazing and perfect.
Yes, very.
In any case, let's
I used to have a
naming
Windows
every
XP
single one
back
of those
back in the
21
early 2000s.
Fantastic games, starting from the first one being released in 1996. Highly responsive to prayers.
And I kept that
The
PC
story
for
of Eastern
at
Wonderland,
least until 2012, 2013.
Phantasmagoria of a Dimensional Dream, Lotus Land Story, Mystic Square. And now onto the Windows generation of Touhou games. The embodiment of Scarlet Devil, Perfect Cherry Blossom, Immaterial and Missing Power, Imperishable Night, Phantasmagoria of Flower View, Shoot the Bullet, Mountain of Faith, Scarlet Weather Rhapsody, Subterranean Animism, Undefined Fantastic Object, Touhou Hiso Tensoku. Double spoiler. This one goes by 2 names, Great Fairy Wars or just Fairy Wars. 10 Desires.
Yes, I understand all this.
Masquerade, Double Dealing Character. And finally, Impossible Spell Card. Oh yeah, and then there's the fan-made games. I tell you, there's too many of them to name. But I will say one thing, the Touhou fandom has
The
remade
Castlevania one.
Castlevania twice.
Nice.
Twice! Really well, too. Let's get into
I wonder if
gameplay
Luna
next.
Nights is also
You can
under
use the arrow
fan-made
keys
games.
to change your direction around the screen.
Unless it's actually
However,
official.
keep in mind that this speed changes depending on the character you choose. For example, Marisa Kirasame is considered the fastest character, whereas Hakurei Reimu is considered the slowest character. Sakuya Izeoi, on the other hand, is considered a nice balance between the two. However, Zune occasionally forgets to put her in the games. You can use the shift button to slow down your movement speed and also reveal your hitbox from Embodiment of Scarlet Devil onwards. This allows for better navigation of the more complex spell cards on the higher difficulties. You can press the Z
Jesus.
key to release a short barrage of Danmaku, or it's easier just to hold it down and release unrelenting terror and pain upon your opponents. You can use a bomb by pressing the X button whenever you have enough bomb
It's just
icons
reminding me of
near your games,
Ikaruga.
or if you have enough power, as located on the screen. Simply put, the more power you have, the more bombs you can use. Let's move on to hitboxes and grazing. By holding shift, you reveal your hitbox and slow down, allowing for much more accurate movement, as I said before. Your hitbox generally appears as a little red dot in the middle of your character sprite, and this changes size depending on which character you chose. The hitbox of bosses and mid-bosses are much bigger than their own sprites, like you can see in this picture here.
Yeah.
This is to allow the player to actually hit the boss or mid-boss while evading their Danmaku.
Or perhaps make things as
Phrasing,
fair as
also known
possible.
as buzzing or scratching, it's the concept of moving a player close to the bullet without actually hitting it. So as you don't actually hit your hitbox, but it hits the sprite. I don't know if we guys get it or not, but it makes.
No, I understand that. Yeah. To make sure, because the body of the player character doesn't mean it's the entire hitbox. It's just a little dot over there. That's as much as I understand.
Now let's move on to spell cards and what they do. Both bosses and mid-bosses use spell cards when on low health. Spell cards are characterized by the drastic change in the background, along with the characters portrayed sliding up the right-hand side of the screen. Spell cards are
there's another game series. I don't know if it's the same series or not, but there's another game that's just like this, but it was infamously hard. It's another bullet hell kind of game, but the name right now, like, escapes me right now.
Each boss and mid-boss have a set of spell cards.
It's not Ikuruga. I did mention Ikuruga, but it's not that game. It's like I think it's a different one. Again, I could be wrong. I could be misremembering things because when I first discovered it, it was back in 2008 or 2009.
Alright, enough easy mode. I'll put it another way. The more beautiful a pattern is, the higher chance it is it's gonna kill you.
Okay, good to know.
Whenever you start a new Touhou game, you get to choose from 4 levels of difficulty. Easy, normal, hard, and lunatic. Keep in mind only psychos complete lunatic easily. Easy mode is, surprise surprise, the easiest difficulty. Now keep in mind the patterns are still quite complex and it's recommended to start at this if you're a newcomer to the series. Normal mode has faster and more plentiful bullets in each Danmaku pattern. It's a little less forgiving than easy mode. If you're rather new to the whole idea of a Danmaku game, I advise using easier normal mode to at least get the grips of it first, before diving headfirst into the chaos ahead. Ah yes, hard mode, one of my favorite modes. In each Danmaku,
oh god, the patterns!
Is almost
holy shit!
Mode. Safe areas, if any, are extremely difficult to get to. Time allocated to the player to defeat the boss or mid-boss is
I'm already getting anxiety just from looking at this!
Right.
I mean, I know it's bullet hell, but oh god, this is ridiculous!
Without a doubt, the hardest difficulty known to man. You have hardly any time to defeat bosses or mid-bosses. The entire screen is taken up most of the time by enemy bullets. Oh yeah, and good luck on finding safe areas in the screen. You'll find that some of the cannon fodder fairies will start shooting loads and loads of Danmaku at you whenever you first start a level.
Everything wants your blood on lunatic difficulty. Clearly!
We've covered the 4 basic levels of difficulty.
God!
On to the extra stages, and their difficulty levels. The extra stages of each Touhou game are considered to be a little bit more difficult than lunatic mode.
Just as impossible. Well, that's nice.
Extra stages. Now, before you can even think about challenging these, you need to complete the game on a certain level of difficulty, all the way to the end. In the embodiment of Scarlet Devil, you had to complete the game on normal mode or above, in order to unlock the extra stage. From Perfect Cherry Blossom onwards, you can complete the game on easy mode and still gain access to the extra stages.
Oh, well, that's great. Cast of the Touhou Project.
I'm sure by now you're wondering, oh, hey, how many characters are in this fantastic looking game?
Yes!
See, there's no real easy answer. Experts have predicted that the entire cast of Touhou ranges from between 1.1 billion to 87 fuckload tons.
What?
Although that may be a conservative estimate. I've already talked about those terrible character sprites, but let's go into more detail about them. All the canon Touhou characters are little girls, who are able to shoot lasers and have special powers. Those character portraits remain the same for pretty much all the Touhou games, except the fighting games. Zune, in collaboration with Twilight Frontier, created several fighting-style games. They changed the art style drastically for these few games. Like they gave the characters some proportions and made them look slightly human.
Yeah, proportions that actually make sense. Thank God. I suck at fighting games. Give me a controller, I'll do what I can.
This character sprite is of Sakuya Izeoi from Touhou Hisoten Soku, compared to the Sakuya Izeoi sprite from the embodiment of Scarlet Devil.
That looks like nightmare fuel.
In case you can't see, that is a big change in the quality.
A big jump. Fanmade stuff.
I said before that there was a lot of fan-made stuff in the Touhou fandom. Touhou fans have implemented the characters from the series into different game engines. I already mentioned how they remade the Castlevania games twice, but fans also remade a whole bunch of other games,
what the hell,
including Earth Defense Force 2017.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't stop there. A bunch of people remade the Mario and Mega Man games, changing the main characters and enemies and backgrounds. If I were to list every single parody of every single game the Touhou fandom has done, I'd be here all night. I don't want to do that.
Damn, at least offer a few examples aside from the Castlevania and Earth Defense Force games then. Please?
Alright,
at least some visuals would help.
We got Danmaku games, beat-em-up games, card, fighting, platformers, puzzles, racing, rhythm, RPGs, we got them all, strategies, flash games, visual novels even.
Of course.
Kind of
Honestly, that's a given.
There have even been several studio-quality animes produced. Perhaps the most popular one is the Fantasy Kaleidoscope series, produced by Manpaku Jinja. The Touhou animes were originally undubbed, and so only had the subtitles. However, fans were quick to offer their voices for fan dubs, and they're pretty decent as well.
Oh god!
Let's get one thing straight. Touhou ain't anime. It's Machiavellian bullet hell shit that's tougher than a baby with Mega Man Zero. Anime is for pussies. Touhou is a man's game. Now we all know Zune makes the music to the games himself.
Come on, everyone knows Peppa Pig is the man's game. Come on.
Amazing. In the first few Touhou games, Zune used a lot of MIDI files. This was characterized by a lot of really screechy kind of trumpets, drums, and piano. Take a listen to this. This is from Touhou 9.5, Shoot the Bullet.
I mean, I will say though, the music is pretty good. Music's good so far. Not great, but pretty good.
Did you see what I mean? The soundtracks to the older games were literally just made up of pianos, trumpets, drum... Wait, that's 2/3 of the Phantom Ensemble. This resulted in some very interesting pieces. Take a listen to this. This is from Touhou 14, Double Dealing Character. Here we are at the end of our little introduction to Touhou. You may think, oh hey, this is a fun series, or oh god, this is abysmal. If you're in the latter camp and hoping to escape from this hellhole, you can't. We'll chase you forever until you succumb.
Oh, well, that's wonderful.
Should you play any of the Touhou games? Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, if you like fast-paced, fury-inciting, hellish shooters filled to the brim with little girls shooting fireworks at each other, then yes, Touhou's for you. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Now listening to this, it feels a little intimidating just to play a Touhou game. Bullet hell shooters are a genre that I don't really play around with all that much. I have played shooters before. I have played games that do contain bullet hell like mechanics, but I don't think I ever actually touched a game where bullet hell is the main focus. The closest game I could think of that contained bullet hell mechanics is the recent most Battletoads game that contains bullet hell mechanics. It's not that hard once you get into it. It's the closest I ever got it to a bullet hell like game. Needless to say, I am a little intimidated. At the same time, it seems like something I could see myself getting into. The thing is, I probably play only one game, and that probably be it for me. Touhou Luna Nights is the closest I ever got to a Touhou game, and so far, it's a spin-off game. So there's no real bullet hell mechanics attached to that game, but it is something that I was exposed to for, just to get myself into the series. And watching this video, I can almost see myself getting into that. In fact, if this was 2009, 2008, I could probably see myself getting into this so easily. I think I'm okay with leaving it at that. Maybe I might try out a Touhou game in the future, but that's not going to be anytime soon. So, yeah, that's all there's going to be doing about that.